had issues with both orders. Basically limits how much surface area you're actually getting on your OEM air filter, which is crazy.
This sounds ridiculous!
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode on Proven Power Cycles. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric and I am the tuner here at Proven Power Cycles. And today we got a pretty cool bike. It's a pretty badass bike. It's a 23 Yamaha R1M. So we have the owner here. His name is Josh, and I mean, real quick, I guess just give us a quick little story on the bike. You know, how'd you get it?
I got it from a guy on Facebook Marketplace. I was selling it for not a really good deal, but for the bike that it is, it was a good deal. And I had to go pick it up. I was getting my first 1,000, and I figured kind of go for the nicest one. I wanted to buy another one afterwards, so I got the R1M, and I threw a nice Racefit Exhuast on it. The growler too. It sounds nasty, but we're gonna get tuned today and get it running perfect. So we're gonna make happen.
So right now, the only modification that he has done to the bike is the Racefit 3/4 slip-on system.
Yeah.
And it's a titanium system. It's pretty badass. So what we're gonna do here today, we're gonna baseline it right now. We have a DNA performance air filter that we are going to install on the bike, and then we're gonna do the full ECU flash and dyno tune with the added air filter, plus obviously this Racefit exhaust, and see what it makes today. So now, we talked earlier off camera, but this is gonna be the first bike that Josh has actually had dyno tuned.
Yeah.
We're gonna get started. And anything else? We good?
No, that's good.
All right. Yeah, I know he wants to see what it does. So all right, let's run it real quick. So we got the fuel tank all taken off here, and we got the baselines. We're gonna go over the numbers here in just a little bit, but I figured we'll go ahead and swap the air filter out now. We have to clear the code before we can run it again. Obviously it's running the wheel speed sensor code. So whenever you have a bike on the dyno, you have the rear wheel speed sensor versus the front wheel speed sensor. And because the front wheel is not turning and the rear wheel is, and it's turning substantially faster than the front wheel, like sometimes about 160, 70 mile an hour faster than the front one, it thinks something is wrong. So it trips a check engine light, and in this case, it actually limits the power. If you do a key off and key on situation, it will limit your power. But here's what we're getting at now is the air filter situation. So we got it all stripped down here. Really doesn't take too long. So here's what the OEM air filter looks like. Give me a second, I'm trying to do this all one-handed. Here we go. And here's what the stock filter out. Extremely restrictive. So you notice here, this little turn down in the air filter basically limits how much surface area you're actually getting on your OEM air filter, which is crazy. So what I wanted to show you guys really quickly was this comparison. It's pretty funny. So look at the comparison. We have OEM clearly and the DNA. Look at the surface area differences. We'll even flip this around and look here. So we still have, let's see, my hand easily goes over just to show you guys for comparison. And now look at this one. Look at that. So much more surface area. Now if you look also here and here, these are almost like little flaps. Look how much more you're actually gonna get with the DNA. Just given the surface area alone, it's gonna allow for more airflow, let alone the material is gonna be a little bit more breathable than the stock air filter is as well. Plus, if you notice, this is another thing on the stock filters, is they have this metal grate. See that metal screen on it? We also, typically what we'll do is we'll take that off an OEM filter. So a lot of times what we do is we take that off, we'll take the little restrictor out, and usually that helps out quite a bit with the stock filter. But again, still can't make up for the displacement. So an old saying we used to have at the shop, this is many years ago now, but The old saying we used to joke about was, there is no replacement for displacement. That was an old saying back in the day. So that means basically the more displacement you have, the more airflow, the bigger, again, the more airflow you have, the more power you make. So that's why they say there's no replacement for it. So we got it all nice and clean. We wiped it all down, blew it all out with air, cleaned up his throttle bodies here, his velocity stacks rather. Got that all cleaned up. So we're gonna go ahead and set this bad boy in there, just like so. Now I am trying to do this one-handed, so don't make fun of me. Actually, you can make fun of me, it's hilarious. I look so stupid right now. Act like you've done this before, buddy. There is a kind of like a ring, a groove that goes all the way around. And basically there's a lip on this air filter, and you wanna make sure that that lip goes into the right groove. So, and there's a little lip right here that you need to catch, guys. So make sure, trust me. I know it sounds silly, but there are people who mess up some silly installs, and we end up having to go in and fix them. We're gonna slap the top of this air box back together, blap, like so, and then we're gonna put the fuel tank on, hook up all the lines, and go through it again real quick.
It bogged down low a lot. I mean, it was running really rich, but that's because of the exhaust, obviously.
Yep.
And cleaned that up a lot. The shifting felt like it was a lot smoother, ripping through the gears and quick shift. I mean, I only ripped it up to like 4th gear, really, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know, we're in the city.
Not really most places to rip it out on. But it rode really smooth, honestly. It felt nice. Did you adjust this lever at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that, because I was like, I don't know if it's because I've been on the Harley for a week, or if it's because...
So a lot of times, so I'll show you this too. I did it on one of my videos, but you see that slight play before it actually like pulls? Yeah. So the rule of thumb is you want to be able to fit about a nickel in between that slot. So so
I
yeah,
had a lot looser before, I think.
Yeah, which is okay. Looser is honestly, it's just gonna grab a little earlier.
Yeah.
Which that's okay. Really, a lot of mistakes that people make is they over tighten the shit out of that, so it never fully disengages the clutch.
Gotcha.
It's as if you're constantly slightly pulling the clutch in, but everyone thinks it's gonna make the clutch grab harder. I'm like, no, it's actually the exact opposite. Yeah. It's such a pretty bike, dude. The R1M is just,
that
so
chain you
nice.
showed me too, that you had on that bike in there, I'm definitely gonna get one of those. I think it's sweet.
We just, the guy that just left, I don't know if you saw him, but
I did.
So we just ordered a set for him. He saw it and he was like, I want that.
It's subtle enough to where it's not like annoying.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. It's a subtle look, and then it just gives it that little pop, you know, just that little accent, you know, and it goes really good with the forks.
Yeah, 100%.
It looks really good. That black and gold looks killer with with this. Also, to give a little bit of background information with this bike, we had a crazy issue with the stupid air filters. So we ordered a DNA and a Sprint for this, and both of them, I guess, were coming overseas, and we had issues with both orders. We actually had 2 different Sprints and a DNA. So all 3 places we had delays. It's almost like they were all getting it from the same ship, I feel like. But because literally almost the same day the DNA came in, the Sprint ones came in. I'm like, what the hell?
Worked out.
So thankfully, his name is Josh, but thankfully he was very patient with us, honestly, and it went a long way because it was such a big delay that we weren't expecting. And anyway, I really appreciate it. What was it worth the wait?
Yeah, man.
You know,
The bike's great, man. She's good.
So at least
and also,
that's
Eric stepped up and he started taking care of my other bike, which is my MT-09, which this one shop was just kind of giving me the runaround on it and trying to screw me, to be honest. And Eric gave me some honest advice, ran the bike for me, took care of it for me, and getting the right parts. So I appreciate that a ton too. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, good shop over here, Proven Power. So
yeah, awesome.
100%.
Well, we appreciate it, man, and thank you for swinging by today.
Absolutely.
I know you didn't have to, and I appreciate you
all the
coming
way
by.
back to the East Coast, but
yeah, so
drove
Josh
3.5
is from
hours from the East Coast to Florida to come over here to Proven Power because I heard good things. So definitely take a peek over here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely,
I appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
as you can see, owner is very happy with the bike, and it's a beautiful bike. It tuned out really well, you know. Honestly, I know a lot of guys have been kind of talking down on the R1M. They're so disappointed on the power numbers, this, that, and the other. But I mean, guys, it's a full-on like track bike. It's all carbon, it's light as shit. I don't know the specs on it off the top of my head, but the bike, you can feel it when you're even pushing around the bike. The balance of it is awesome. It's got the electronic suspension. It's a badass bike. So it doesn't need 190 plus horsepower. I mean, even at 180 wheel or roughly thereabouts, trust me, it's plenty. It's a lot of bikes still for the track. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over the numbers real quick. We'll show you guys kind of what we did to the bike. So the blue line is going to be our baseline, red line final, obviously. So as you can see, as we're going through the power curve here, just as we go up in the higher the RPM, just the more power it kind of takes off, if you will. And then here at top end, we actually picked up, this is around 13.5 roughly, 13,500 RPM. We picked up roughly 28 wheel almost horsepower, which that's pretty substantial. So now in the complaint that he was having, which you heard earlier, they have a really bad partial throttle. They have hesitations, basically stuttering. Like even off the friction point when you're engaging the clutch, or when you're engaging into first gear and you're releasing the clutch, you'll feel it has a stutter whenever you guys swap the exhaust out and and or the air filter. So you'll feel that little stutter in the bike, and basically it's that AFR. The AFR is just so lean. You're in the 15s. It's like 15.7, 15.8 AFRs, and it gets so bad that that's basically what you're gonna feel, that stuttering, because it's just starving. It needs fuel. So anyway, that's kind of the common thing on the bottom end, and obviously there's a little bit more to it. We mess with the velocity stacks a little bit. We ignition timing. There's the fuel mapping, and the ETV mapping as well. So when you combine all of those and get it all right, you start nice smooth linear curves. So we have these slopes aren't as extreme. You notice how they're a lot smoother versus the baseline. You notice how these are more pronounced. These curvatures are way more pronounced, and that's kind of what you want to do, is make it as linear as possible, and ideally with the right type of exhaust or velocity stack exhaust combo, we can even get this to smooth out a little bit better. But for the most part, these are again more track style bikes, so we kind of want that power to be above the 8.5, 9K and on, because that's really where you're going to be riding at the track for the most part. So again, these are really nice power curves, considering when you look at it from that 8.5, 9K and on. This is it's basically a linear power band all the way through. It holds the power very well, holds the torque very well. That's what you want to see in these bikes. So awesome. Honestly, I'm very, very happy with the way the power came out. I mean, again, I know there's the critics saying, oh, this thing should be making 190. Again, guys, that's also crank horsepower that you're reading online. It's not red to the wheel, it's red to the crank. A lot of people get that mixed up, or you'll see BHP, which is brake horsepower, which is basically the same thing as crank horsepower. So those numbers that you're seeing online, the magazine articles and all that jazz, that is all measured at the crank. So, and we have roughly a 13 to 15% roughly drivetrain loss. So even if you take that low number at 13%, you're still dealing with like a little over 200 wheel on a measured to the crank. So keep that in your mind, guys. So all in all, though, the guy's happy. He wants to start getting into track riding. He's not going to use the R1M for his first, track bike. He's got a different bike that he's planning on purchasing so that he could start tracking. So that bike, he said maybe later on he'll do it, but we'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, it's a beautiful bike. I love it, honestly, and I think it's an awesome bike, and I still think this is plenty of power for that bike. But tell us what you guys think down below. Leave us a comment. Share the video. If you got a buddy with the R1M, share it to him. Anyway, we appreciate all the love, guys. Thank you so much for following us. Thank you so much for the support. And if you don't support us yet, could you please hit that subscribe button? Leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. Like the video. All the things. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you on another episode.